Hello, it's Kevin here. Time for a video, once again. Introduction number 34 of our third series, 101 introductions. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't seen this before, in association with IELTS 9 Pro on Telegram, we go searching for the new topics for IELTS essays. I write a sample and I look at some of the Telegram group, IELTS 9 Pro, some of their contributions, and we allow one of them to submit a complete essay for assessment. So there's my essay to have a look at first, then a student essay, and then some sample introductions. Okie doke. So, like I say, if you're watching on YouTube, the links below to the group and to my personal site. If you're watching on Telegram or IELTS 9 Pro, then you know the score. So we won't go through that. You can see it. You've probably seen it in the group. Let's get straight down to the essay. According to some, housing should be treated as a basic human right. Okay, all right. The concept of human rights is subjective, not really enforceable. While housing, blah, blah, blah. I think it's more realistic to view it as part of an agreement between governments and their citizens. So, I say, so paraphrase, put a bit of an argument there. You don't have to do that, but this is part of my introduction. And it's only, 290 words, so not too bad. So anyway, so I say, okay, some people think it should be basic human right. However, it's subjective, not universally enforceable. More realistic to view it as a part of an agreement between governments and citizens, not as a basic human right. And then I talk about how human rights lack practical enforcement on an international scale. The United Nations says we do have such human rights, but they don't carry any legal obligations. So although the UN says there's a human right to this and this and this and this, there's no legal obligation for member states to carry these things out. As I say, in reality, we operate on national priorities, economic constraints, rather than adherence to global human rights. Every country looks after its own citizens. That's a fact. Maybe they would like to, give everybody a house, but there's no country in the world, I think, that actually does this. So, secondary concern, and then I explain it. It's more productive to see. So now, for those of you who haven't done any political theory, Thomas Hobbes, the social contract. Was it called? Leviathan, I think. Hobbes's book was talking about the social contract between the government and its people. So it's part of the government contract. So you obey the laws, do what you should do, etc. And in return, the government provides you with certain protections. Welfare programs, affordable housing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so it's a practical necessity tied to governance, as in the social contract, right? Rather than abstract, because simply saying it's a human right, it's an abstract. Human rights, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as universal abstract human rights. They need to be enforced. Who's going to enforce them? So that's the basic political, theoretical argument against why they cannot be human rights, because for many political scientists and political theorists, human rights do not exist unless they're guaranteed and backed by a nation state. And until we have a global government, which we probably won't, and I hope that we certainly don't, there's no legal enforcement. So anyway, a focus on national policies is more realistic. Instead of making it some abstract human right, getting your government to provide affordable housing is a better way of getting people into houses. Now, the essay that somebody wrote. Now, right, first things first, way too long, 438 words. And I don't want to be too harsh, but okay, introduction, good. But look, This is all about a disease. It's apparent that homeless people are more likely to contract a disease. Okay, they might be cold, they might catch a flu, they'll be spreading various sicknesses, diseases. Okay, you can read it all, but the whole paragraph, right? So, what this essay essentially does, it said that it basically explains why being homeless is a bad thing. Okay, but it doesn't directly explain why it should be a human right. What does that mean? What's it entail? Who's going to enforce it? It doesn't say that. It simply says, one sentence, the government must provide. Governments must provide, but without any reason why. So being homeless is bad, well, which most people would agree with. But then they would say, well, okay, but why is it a basic human right for everybody to have a house or to have somewhere to live? Isn't that down to the individual? Don't we have autonomy? Don't we have agency? Isn't it our responsibility? So again, it doesn't explain why it should be a human right. And then you've got this here about they might get mental disease if they're homeless. Okay, but again, where's the human right? And then on the flip side, on the other hand, I don't know what this has got to do with the topic. So the more the governments accommodate the poor, the more dependent they become, pull their socks up, homeless individuals. I don't know what that's talking about. What's that got to do with the topic? So there's basic assertion, which obviously, by the way, is not an essay, right? And then you've got, it should be a human right to avoid catching and spreading a disease. That's why it should be a human right. So that doesn't really work. Okay, now I've got some introductions. Let's have a look. Actually, most of these are pretty good. Yeah, that's good. I think that is good. That one's good too. Okay. Now, in the current era, you mean today or currently? Era. People tend to buy a house for themselves. Okay, but it's talking about homeless people because they consider that it can be at least belonging that they have in their lives as a human. That sentence is meaningless. Doesn't mean anything. I have no idea what you are trying to say. It's about homelessness. So, that sentence, okay, I understand. But what does that mean? Okay. And the last two, yeah, that's good. And that's good also, yeah. Now, taking the same tack that I took. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. So, these introductions are pretty good. That essay needs to be on topic. Explain particularly why it's a human right, not like, is being homeless bad? Yes. So, I'm going to put mine on the screen so you can see the whole thing. You can read it and work out the argument for yourself. Okay, right, I hope that helps. We've got a new topic in the group, so we'll be making a video for that probably this weekend, maybe next week, because it's Christmas Day now. Christmas, Merry Christmas for those of you who celebrate, and even if you don't, it's Christmas Day because the birth of Jesus, so, you know, like it or not, it's Christmas. Anyway, that's it. I shouldn't be working really on Christmas Day, but you know, I have a bit of time. So anyway, that's it. Hope that helps, and I'll see you for the next video. Okay.